A mother's rage knows no bounds as she comes face to face with the huge liar who mercilessly killed her daughter. Will justice be served, or will Daejanae Jackson escape the wrath of Shanquella's mother? Find out as tensions rise and emotions explode in this intense confrontation. The entire nation was left reeling in horror when a ghastly cell phone recording of Shanquella Robinson's fatal fall, taken in October of the previous year, was unleashed upon the world. Shockwaves reverberated through every corner of the country as the video spread like wildfire across the internet. It was a harrowing sight to behold, one that would haunt the nation's psyche for years to come. Just a solitary day after arriving in Mexico with her companions, the vibrant and vivacious Shanquella was mercilessly snatched away from this world, her young life snuffed out in an instant by a broken neck. Her so-called friends, in a desperate bid to exonerate themselves, shamelessly concocted a flimsy story of accidental alcohol poisoning. But her grief-stricken mother wasn't buying it. She knew deep in her heart that her daughter's passing was no accident. It was a cold-blooded murder. The burning question on everyone's lips was, what really happened? What was the actual situation that led to Shanquella's untimely demise? And what does Daejanae Jackson, Shanquella's companion on the fateful trip, have to say about it all? Let us delve deeper into this tragic tale and unravel the dark secrets that lie within. The sudden and tragic passing of Shanquella Robinson ignited the firestorm of fury that spread like a plague throughout the United States and Mexico, plunging all who knew her into a sea of inconsolable grief. The bright and ambitious young businesswoman had set out on a fateful journey to Mexico in the company of 6 people, whom she trusted and considered friends, but little did she know that her trip would end in unspeakable horror. Just 24 hours after landing on foreign soil, Shanquella's mother, Salamandra, received a phone call that shattered her world. Her heart racing with fear and dread, Salamandra listened as the voice on the other end told her that her beloved daughter was dying. In the days that followed, the truth began to emerge, and with it came a cascade of unanswered questions that burned like acid in Salamandra's soul. Shanquella had called her mother to say that she was going out to buy tacos with her companions. But the next call came not from Shanquella but from her friends. They claimed that Shanquella had succumbed to alcohol poisoning and that a doctor was on the way to help her. Salamandra found it strange that her daughter's friends had diagnosed her with such a serious illness on their own, and she wondered why. With no other options in a foreign land, Salamandra pleaded with her daughter's companions to take her to the doctor, but they refused. Instead, they waited while Shanquella clung to life, gasping for air until the villa manager and the doctor finally arrived. Salamandra begged to speak to the doctor, but her pleas were ignored. And then, in a blink of an eye, Shanquella was gone, leaving behind a void that can never be filled. The Robinson family was shattered by the news of Shanquella's untimely death. Initially, they were told that their beloved daughter had died due to alcohol poisoning, a tragic accident. But a shocking revelation made by a villa staff member turned their world upside down. "Your daughter didn't die of alcohol poisoning, Mr. Robinson," the staff member informed Shanquella's father. "Her neck was broken and it caused her death." The family was stunned and deeply hurt by the deception of Shanquella's supposed friends who had brazenly lied to them about the cause of her death. They had even discussed funeral attire in front of the grieving family. Days later, a horrifying video surfaced online, showing one of Shanquella's friends brutally assaulting her while they were both naked. The autopsy confirmed the family's worst fears. Shanquella had suffered a torturous and violent death, with a fractured neck and severe damage to her spine. Salamandra, Shanquella's mother, was heartbroken and enraged by the actions of these so-called friends. They had betrayed her daughter's trust, and Shanquella had thought of them as her closest pals. When Salamandra demanded the truth from one of them, he stumbled and lost his composure. The family was left to mourn the loss of their beloved daughter while grappling with the devastating truth of her brutal murder. Tears streamed down Salamandra's face as she recounted the harrowing events that led to her daughter's untimely demise. Her heart was heavy with grief as she recalled the moment when she realized that her daughter's supposed friends had brutally tortured her to death. She vividly remembered the pacing and perspiring of one of the companions, who appeared to be high but in reality was consumed by guilt. The sickening revelation left Salamandra reeling with anger and despair. How could her daughter have been so horribly betrayed by the very people she thought she could trust? The sickening video of the assault, which was recorded by one of the accomplices, was the final blow. It showed the depravity and callousness of the group as they cheered on the attacker and urged Shanquella to fight back. Now, Salamandra was determined to seek justice for her daughter and expose the true nature of these so-called friends. She had lost her daughter, but she refused to let her memory be tarnished by their lies and deceit. In a heartbreaking turn of events, the family of the late Shanquella Robinson is now fighting tooth and nail to ensure that justice is served for their beloved daughter, who was brutally tortured and killed by her supposed friends. The family is desperate to see the lying and cold-blooded killer Daejanae Jackson, as well as the other accomplices who watched the gruesome murder unfold, pay for their heinous crimes. The family is determined to hold these criminals accountable for their actions, no matter what it takes. Jackson, the alleged killer, went to great lengths to cover up her heinous act. She lied to the hotel managers and manipulated the staff to leave the country as soon as possible after the murder, leaving the family with no recourse to prosecute her. The family is now seeking the help of President Joe Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken to personally intervene and ensure justice is served for their daughter. They have enlisted the help of their lawyer to make a plea to the president for swift action. The criminals who committed this heinous act must be held accountable for their actions, no matter where they may have fled. The family will not rest until justice is served, and they will stop at nothing to ensure that their daughter's killers are brought to justice. The Robinson family's grief and rage are at a boiling point as they demand justice for their beloved Shanquella. The family's lawyer, Benjamin Crump, did not mince words in his statement to the press, declaring that inaction is not acceptable in this case. The family's demands are clear. Either extradite the killer to Mexico where the crime was committed or prosecute her here in the United States. These bogus buddies must face the consequences of their heinous crime, Crump insists. The family is well aware of the complexities of prosecuting a crime committed in another country, but they refuse to be deterred. We were unable to comprehend the family's questions, says the lawyer, emphasizing the urgency of the matter. The family has called on the highest diplomats in the land to intervene and ensure that justice is served. For Salamandra, the only thing that matters is that her daughter and her family receive the justice they deserve. The question now is whether the government will heed their call and bring the killers to account. In a world where justice seems elusive, the family of Shanquella Robinson is fighting an uphill battle to ensure that the ruthless, cruel individuals responsible for her death are held accountable. For them, the only way to find peace is to see her murderers pay for their crimes behind bars. But they fear that their daughter's passing will simply be forgotten. Just another tragic headline that fades from the public's memory. Her mother and sister have made impassioned pleas for justice, but the media seems more interested in profit than truth. They made money by reporting on Shanquella's story, but now that it is no longer trendy, they've gone silent. It's infuriating that the attackers were caught on camera, yet the murderers are still at large. The Shanquella Robinson case seems to have stalled, and the family is left wondering if justice will ever be served. The closure is necessary for them to begin to mourn, yet they can't move on until those responsible are held accountable. It's time for Daejanae Jackson and her companions to be brought to justice and for the family to find some semblance of closure. Thank you for tuning in to this emotional and eye-opening interview with the mother of Shanquella Robinson, who confronted Daejanae Jackson. We hope this has shed light on the devastating consequences of betrayal and the importance of seeking justice for those we have lost. If you have any information regarding the case of Shanquella Robinson or any other victims of violent crimes, please contact your local authorities. Let's work together to ensure that justice is served and to prevent tragedies like this from happening in the future. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more impactful content.